and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public informational nonpartisan program designed to get the public acquainted with the candidates vying for the 2024 general election races of Kaiser City Mayor, Kaiser City Council, Marion County Sheriff, Senate District 9, House Districts 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and Congressional Districts 5 and 6. These interviews come to you through the producers at Capital Community Media, with collaboration on questions and moderators from the American Association of University Women and League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties. All candidates for these races were invited, and 65% chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions prepared by the League of Women Voters ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening, addressing their background and qualifications for the office, and 2-minute closing remarks. Hi, I'm Cindy Schnell from the League of Women Voters, Marion and Polk counties, and I'd like to introduce Paul Evans, who is running for House District 20. Candidate Evans, welcome, and we look forward to your opening remarks.
Thank you. I am Paul Evans, and since 2014, I have been representing the people of House District 20 in West Salem, South Salem, Monmouth, and Independence. Over the last 30 years, hard to think about that, but over the last 30 years, I've served as a city councilor, a mayor, a school board member. I've served as a senior policy advisor to former Governor Kulongoski, and most recently, of course, as a legislator. My day job is I'm a college professor at Chemeketa, and over the course of my life, I actually spent 20 years in the military, with about 10 years on active duty and about 10 years in the Guard. I believe, as we look at this election, it's important to recognize that 3 things really matter. The first is experience. Does the person that you're going to choose have the experience to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow? The second is the background in terms of what kind of leadership and followership capabilities has the potential candidate demonstrated. And as a person who served in the military, who teaches students every day and works with colleagues, I think it's important to recognize that the skills of how to lead, how to follow, and how to work as a team are skills that are developed over a lifetime. They're not really developed through a book or just in a short period of time. And the third thing I think that's important to look at, especially in this election, is who has the understanding of the problems that we really face. Too often in government, we spend a lot of time putting out little fires, but we don't actually focus on the structural and systemic issues that need to be resolved. I believe over the last 10 years, I've done my very best to serve the people of this district. And I hope that you think the same. And I'm asking for your vote this November. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. I'm going to start with questions.
Thank you.
First question. How would you ensure that Oregon has the resources to provide all Oregonians access to affordable, quality health care?
Well, I think healthcare is one of those issues that for a long time, Americans have been focused on what we did as opposed to what we should do. The United States, as we worked our way through the Great Depression, was grappling with how to figure out a way to feed people, clothe people, keep them healthy, how to pay them. And what happened was really out of circumstance, Franklin Roosevelt focused on trying to provide healthcare through businesses, that basically the place that you work would be providing your healthcare. Most other industrialized countries recognize that while that model can work, the more effective model is to think of healthcare as a force enabler for a healthy workforce. What that means is it's time to look at ways to simplify the process. You know, people like to give a single payer a bad name, but in the military healthcare system is in fact a single payer system. We, I believe in Oregon, have the capacity to provide both private and public options for public health care, so long as we commit to the fact that every Oregonian, everyone, deserves access to affordable health care. Different regions have different strengths. The private, the nonprofit, and the public sector health providers need to come together. And hopefully, over the next several years, we can find the fortitude to find the best blended recipe for Oregonians. It's not going to be easy, but I do believe we've made a little bit of progress over the last 10 years. I know Representative Nose and others are working on ways to make the CCOs a little more effective in what I believe will be called CCO version 3.0. And ultimately, I believe that as we have opportunities right now, due to the folks who are retiring, as we look at workforce issues, we can move healthcare out of the political football arena and into a recognition that it's something that we need to do for the long-term health of not just our citizens, but our economy.
Thank you. Moving on, what do you see as the future of hydropower in Oregon?
So my master's degree was in the Pacific Salmon Treaty, a study of how we as a country, and quite frankly, how we in Canada worked to jointly manage the Pacific salmon runs. And the unfortunate truth is we're not terribly good at it. Hydropower is an immense uh, force. It is an ability to provide relatively clean power. It is abundant, or at least it has been, but it comes with side effects. And I believe that over the coming years, as we look at other alternatives, wind energy, wave energy, perhaps renewable diesel, that in the Pacific Northwest, especially, hydropower has to be looked at on a case by case basis. The hydropower systems that we have transformed, if you follow the writings of Richard White, it transformed a system that produced salmon into a man made lake system where we now can actually have a seaport in Idaho, which is kind of strange to me, but nonetheless, goods go straight out from Idaho because of the Columbia River and the dams that we've built. We have to transition someday off of hydropower. Now, how we do it and the way in which we implement it and the way in which we measure success, I think is critical. But ultimately, Oregon, I do not believe, can continue to count on hydropower in a climate that's changing and in an environment where what we have done to the river system is not only hurting salmon, but it's hurting all the other species related to salmon health. It's one of those issues that I hope to continue to play a small role on. And I look forward to trying to work together with Republicans, Democrats alike to incrementally move toward the place we need to be where we can get to sustainable power that doesn't put an entire ecosystem at risk. I think that Oregonians are smart enough to do that, and I'm hoping to play a role in that.
Thank you. Third question, what is the role of House District 20 in helping cities and counties with policy and funding issues dealing with houselessness? What ideas do you support?
Well, that's a pretty big question. The House District 20 is, in many ways, reflective of a lot of the state that doesn't always get in the newspapers. We're a little more conservative than folks who live in an urban area, but we're also a town that's a government town. We're the state capital. Monmouth has a university, Salem has a state capital, and the folks that live in our area are very involved in the way government works. What that means is it means that we have people who understand both the limitations as well as the capabilities of government. It does provide us a unique opportunity because of the amount of state-owned areas and land and space inside House District 20. And I think it also provides us an opportunity to leverage some unique resources. What does that mean in terms of output? Well, here's what it means. I have been pushing for a long time to reframe the discussion about homelessness. I happen to believe that ultimately homelessness is really three different problems that are compiled. We have a situation where for a long time we were incentivizing the building of the wrong sized homes. I think the secondary component is we have lost a lot of the jobs that were generally the first tier into the middle class. And I think that behavioral and addictive health services are very hard to find. So, it's easy to point the blame. Now, how do you solve the problem? My approach, slightly different than some. I believe we should recognize that there are three different communities within homelessness. The first one is the folks that, but for a paycheck, would be still housed. To me, those are the first in a triage effort to get those folks back into transitional housing, work, and the kinds of routines that the family can actually get used to and work into so that long term they never find themselves homeless again. The second category has to do with behavioral health and addiction services. That's not going to be easy because, quite frankly, Oregon is very good at swinging from one pendulum to the next. And when we moved away from larger institutions like Fairview and others, we really went all in. And it's hard at this point for people who really should be civilly committed for their own health to even be civilly committed. There's no place to put them if we could, and we also don't have the workers, quite frankly, to provide a lot of the services that are necessary. What that means is we have our work cut out for us, and we have to find accelerated ways in the short term to get a workforce to meet that need. And we also have to be creative in terms of how we work together. The third category is a category that basically doesn't have addiction or behavioral health issues, wasn't in a home or a solid work environment. They're people that, because of a number of different factors, have just found that living on the street is something interesting to them. That group, while clearly not the majority, is a group that I hope to motivate with some other means. I have some bills that I'm planning on introducing that actually will provide incentives to get into the work environment. For example, one of the bills I'm going to be introducing would provide a bonus for folks who want to join the National Guard or the armed services so that they can get the skills necessary to build a life for themselves after they serve in the military. The United States military used to do a really good job at job training, but unfortunately, over the last 30 years, our focus on wars overseas and contracting out got in the way of that. So, my goal is to try to bring these three pieces together and offer a stronger alternative for some of the things that we've been doing most recently.
Thank you. I hate to interrupt. Um, what elements do you support that would ensure financial stability for Oregon's future?
Well, um, Oregon's financial future depends upon two components. The first is a vibrant private sector that is innovative, creative, and nimble. It also requires a government that provides the services necessary so people can take advantage of that environment. Government is supposed to do things that the private sector can't do. Guarantee opportunity, for example, not success, but opportunity. To provide a safe environment, air, land, and street. It also is supposed to make sure that we protect our most basic rights to think, to act, to live, and to love without fear. And it's supposed to be a good steward of the future, even as we provide in the present. The way we do that is we come together, build a vision for where we want to be. We look at the structures and systems necessary to deliver the government systems that are required for success and the economic incentives to help the private sector expand, innovate, collaborate. And then we actually set about finding the resources to build the future we want with an understanding that the goal is to provide an environment where any person who has the next best idea has the skills and the access to capital to be able to take that idea to market and to become a millionaire if they want to become a millionaire. I have provided a number of bills over the years, and I'm reintroducing the Guaranteed Opportunity Program from last session that would transform the way we think of post-secondary education and, quite frankly, move an entire cohort of people into an environment where they can actually buy into their house 8 to 10 years earlier than they are right now, which I also believe would help stabilize the middle class. So it's going to take a lot of ideas. I don't have all of them, but I do believe in building a good team, setting out a vision, building the tools necessary to get to there, and doing the job one day at a time.
We have 2 minutes left. How about describing both a positive and negative impact if there's expansion of urban growth boundaries within the state in order to make room for a major semiconductor or advanced manufacturing projects?
So I think that land use policy is a critical element to what kept Oregon, and what I believe will continue to keep Oregon one of the most special places on the planet. However, I don't believe one size fits all. And I'm a little bit concerned, quite frankly, about the placement of large scale manufacturing on good farmland in the Willamette Valley. Unfortunately, there were some alternative places outside the Willamette Valley that have land that isn't quite as fertile, land that is a little more in the middle that could have been used for large scale production. And quite frankly, as a person who represents Independence, Monmouth, West Salem, South Salem, I'm working hard to make sure that if there is a second approach, lower in the valley and slightly outside the valley, but still close to highway arteries, are considered. We have to be very careful. We can have both. We can have responsible growth and we can have a vibrant, healthy environment. But we have to be smart about where we concentrate these things. And instead of reacting to where people live, let's actually decide where we want the businesses and the growth to be and plan accordingly.
Thank you so much. We now have 2 minutes. So candidate Evans, you are invited to now share your 2-minute closing comments about your goals for the office if elected, or other remarks if you wish to share them. Please also share your contact information so the public can reach out to you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. If you want to know more about my policies or my belief system, you're certainly welcome to go to my webpage, which is www.paulevans.org. You can call my campaign manager at 971-701-7557. I think we have a Facebook for Paul Evans. I'm not much on Facebook, but I think we have a Facebook page. And you can go to my legislative website if you want to know what we've been doing. I happen to believe that leadership matters still. I believe service matters. And ultimately, as a person who spent a little over 20 years in uniform, I believe duty is one of those things that every Oregonian must fulfill in our own way. I believe that the challenges we're facing are enormous and that no one person has all the right ideas. I do believe, however, that Oregonians, when we work together and don't really care so much about the credit or the party or the ideology, when we work together in common cause for a shared vision, there's really not much we can't do. That said, this hopefully in 2025, I'm going to be working more on expanding veteran services and care. I hope to continue the work on building statewide emergency management and disaster management resilience and response capacities. And I also hope to make the Oregon Public Defense Commission a little more accountable and get us closer to making sure that we keep faith with our constitutional charge. I'm grateful for all the folks who've allowed me to serve these last 10 years in the Oregon legislature, and I'm hopeful that my service has earned another term, another tour of duty as your voice in the Capitol. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm hoping that together, all together, we can continue to make Oregon just the special place and the people that Oregon is supposed to be. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, candidate Evans, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts. And also thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and producer skills used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties for the design and preparation of the program. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become an informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, visit vote411.org after September 30th when candidate data is posted. You have until October 15th to register to vote or make changes to your registration. Ballots go out October 16th and will be accepted and counted if postmarked before or on November 5th. Elections matter. Remember to vote because your vote counts.